Great. Okay, so I think that we can get started. I don't see any questions in the chat just yet. Amber, if you can also monitor if anybody comes into the waiting room, that would be great.
Yep.
But in the meantime, I will start off by saying that suddenly we're in December of 2020, which is really crazy to me. I don't know where the year went, and I feel like most people probably feel the same. It's been a weird year, but I hope that Sherpa has helped bring you some success. Or if you're brand new with us, I hope that we can help you fill that pipeline to start 2021 really strong. And so this is kind of the point that I want to make, is that there are going to be a lot of people who decide, I'm going to take December off. I'm just going to put a pause on my marketing. If leads come in, great. But if not, I'm just going to kind of take it easy. That's if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But we advise to not put the foot on the brake. We advise to put it on the gas during this time. And of course, being respectful of people's time. So we don't want to send text messages on Christmas Day, even Christmas Eve, any time where they're probably spending time with their family. It might be a little bit put off by receiving a text, but otherwise, the rest of December is still fair game. And so send those text messages out. Other people are putting it on pause. And so this is your time to take that opportunity while things are more quiet to reach out to prospects, get that pipeline full, make some extra money, start the new year strong. And so if you do go the route of putting marketing on pause, it's just going to be that much harder to start off the new year strong because you're going to be making up for that time lost. So again, be respectful of people's times. You are sending them text messages to their personal phone, but keep on sending those messages out on the days that make sense to do so, and keep that pipeline full, close those deals, make extra money, and start the new year strong. So that's all I'll say about that. But it is actually an opportunity for lots of you guys at the end of the year. What else? I will also go into, just in case any of you are new with us, I will pop over here to the app itself and just quickly point out the support resources. So again, I did say got a lot of things coming. We've been working really, really hard for the last, 6 months. We've been working hard all year, but some of these new things are going to come very soon now that we've been working on for a long time. And so we expect to train you guys and help you guys even more. And so check out the support resources when these times do come. Once we release a new product, we will update the knowledge base, which is here. This is where you can find FAQs, how-to articles, videos, etc. in the knowledge base. There is a search bar in there, and you can just pop in your keyword to pull up whatever you're looking for. You can also always contact us at support@leadsherpa.com. Most of you figure this out right away, and we're very, very happy to help you out there. Our average response time is typically 10 minutes or less for that first response, and we try to resolve it as within that first response as well. So head over to your email to contact us at support@leadsherpa.com for any assistance there. And then also the Facebook group. So most of you are probably already part of the Facebook group, but in case you aren't, or in case you have people using Sherpa, they can join us there as well. So maybe you think because you're the owner of the account, only you can have access to the Facebook group. Not true. We want everybody who's using Sherpa, including VAs, including just anybody who's doing texting or skip tracing or anything in your account, to know what they're doing and to be able to have access to this community of other users as well. So feel free to invite them to join our Facebook group as well. It's a great support resource. If you're looking for general advice from other people, we do reject some posts here if it's very specific to your account. If you're facing a bug that isn't happening to anybody else, then we do suggest emailing support so that we can, one, address it right away, but two, get some of that one-on-one information back from you instead of having this back and forth conversation on the Facebook group. But if you're looking for advice from other people, or you want to read about success stories and just have any reason to post your own success story or advice that's helpful for everybody to know, please do come to the Facebook group and post it in there. We also have our YouTube channel. So some people prefer to read a knowledge base article. Some people prefer a YouTube channel. We try to keep them both as up to date as possible. And especially again, with these new features coming out, we'll post some new videos here as well. And anybody can access these as well from your team. If you have a Zapier account to connect Sherpa to your CRM, the video of how to do that is there. You can also reach out to support and we'll help you as well. And then if you do also have a prospect who is hostile and you know that no one should ever contact this person ever again, if they're just not interested, then you just maybe mark them as dead. But if they're hostile, they say they're going to report you or do something else, you can submit that to our user submitted DNC here. You can also actually do this right from the prospect page here in this pop out. If you click this little stop button, basically, this will actually report them as a pre-litigator, and we approve all of these so that we have control a bit over what's happening. We don't want other users to add somebody to the system-wide DNC if they're just not interested. So we do review all of the submissions and accept or deny them. And we will only accept it if it's definitely a hostile person we know nobody else should contact. So we're protecting the whole community here with this function. So let's see, did I go through everything here? It's just good for new people to know. Also billing support, so you can pose a question about a charge here as well, which you can also just email us about that as well. All right, let's get into it. Let's get started. Let's see what we have in the chat here. Amber, I'm going to ask the questions and you can answer.
This isn't so much of a question, more of a comment that I'm not sure I'm seeing it on my end, so we can look into this.
I cannot, is that the one from Sasha here?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, okay, so Sasha, we see you're saying, I cannot see the health of inactive telephones anymore. Sherpa stopped showing it all once 1 week ago. For this reason, recovery of inactive telephone does not function anymore either. I can still see the health of active phones normally as before. So this is definitely something, sounds like it's specific to your account because it's definitely not something system-wide or happening to other people. I haven't heard about this. And so please do email support@leadsherpa.com so we can, one, take a look at your account specifically, and two, help you out. It's possible that they've been inactive for so long, although typically you should be able to keep inactive phone numbers for as long as possible, but in case anything happened at the carrier level with those phone numbers, perhaps it may have released. And so we can look more into that, but there is some more investigation that we would have to do. So that's a great question for the support channel. Charles, you would like to just interrupt us. Absolutely, come on in. You can unmute yourself there, or I can unmute you. There you are. I'm gonna ask to unmute you.
Hello?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
Very good. All right, what's your question? What can we help with?
I'm in a big problem right now, but I know you can solve my problem. Yesterday was my first time using Lead Sherpa.
Mhm.
I pretty much got too excited about the results I was getting. So I was sending out a lot of messages, and I believe I got spammed. And this morning I woke up and all my numbers all poor.
Okay, so
That's
were you
hell.
getting 0% delivery rates?
I had about, I sent messages to about, I think, 2 or 3 campaigns. So at the end of the second campaign, that was when I had the pause, and that's when I found out about the 0%
Delivery rate.
delivery rate. I never
Okay.
watched any of the videos on YouTube until after I got into a mess.
Sure, yeah, and that's okay. So when you get flagged as spam, it's basically just the carrier's way of saying, hey, you're sending a lot of messaging really close together. It looks spammy to us. You need to slow it down. And so it's not a permanent flag that happens. it lasts 2 hours. So once 2 hours have passed, you can start sending messages again. But we do want to take the situation, and the reason, though this is specific to your account, it is something that is fairly widespread and affects everybody. And so I'm going to address this because it will be helpful to everybody. And so we do want to take a look at what were we doing and why we got flagged as spam, basically. And so it sounds like maybe you were just sending a bunch of messages. And so the best thing to do is when you're on your metrics tab here, you can see all of these are spaced out a little bit. So they've got 5 minutes between, sometimes 10 minutes between, and having that separation between every batch helps with the spam flags. If these just said 3:33 p.m., 3:33 p.m., 3:33 p.m., 3:34 p.m., 3:34 p.m., we're just sending too close together, and it's definitely going to get us flagged as spam. So if you instead send 100 messages, then you'll start getting replies, go through the replies, come back, send another 100 messages, go through the replies. That separation will help mitigate getting flagged as spam again. The other thing is also switching up the template with each of those batches. So you should have a lot of templates. If you just started using the Sherpa yesterday, you may only have 1 template or 2 templates. And that repetition back to back from batch to batch to batch is going to get you flagged as well, because repetition is the easiest thing for carriers to flag as spam. So one, it's that high.
Template completely right now.
Sorry?
Do I need to change my template completely right now?
I would change your template and create more. So at a time, you should have at least 10 active templates. And with every batch, so I can sit here and use this template and click send 100 times. And then when I go read the messages, I come back to send another batch, I should choose a new template. And so it is good to always create new templates and keep things fresh and edit them and update them. But within one sitting, you know, maybe you go through the 10, you can go back to that first one and then go through the 10 again, but just make sure we're switching them up often and separating them out. Now, we will actually in the next week or so have another feature where you're going to put a category on your templates, and you can put templates under a specific category, and we will actually rotate through the templates for you. And so that will come very soon. But in the meantime, you do have to manually switch up the template in use while you're sending them out. And so, then
with my phone numbers with all poor health, do I need to add new numbers and release this one?
They could be okay. So what I would do is send a batch or two and see in your metrics tab of the campaign that you're sending in how your delivery rate is. Because if they say poor, if you send 2 new batches today and you come here to the metrics tab and you look at the delivery rate and it's high, it means the numbers are okay. If they're very low, then you may have actually killed the phone numbers. But the thing is, with phone health, this is actually based off of delivery rates. And so because you got all of those 0% delivery rates, it's skewing the health down. So the most accurate health score comes from phone numbers that are getting used that aren't flagged, because once they're flagged, it's just going to stop the phone number altogether from being used and put those 0% delivery rates into the phone health. So your phone health is just a little bit skewed right now. So instead, send a couple batches and see how your delivery rate is. The phone health updates nightly, and so tomorrow you may come back on, and if you've had good delivery rates today, it may go back up to moderate or good.
And if I've released certain phone numbers, does that affect the messages I'm meant to receive back?
Yes. So the best thing to do before releasing is deactivate phone numbers. So we have these 2 options here. And Amber, do you actually just want to go through the difference between deactivating and releasing?
Yeah, so you can deactivate them, basically help cool them down so they're not getting used when they're in a poor state. Hopefully help, improve the health status when you do reactivate them. If you release them, that means they're going to be completely gone from your account. You will no longer receive messages to anybody that responds to that number. And it's pretty much gone forever.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. As soon as you hit release, it goes back to the carrier. It doesn't even belong to Sherpa anymore. It's gone, it's permanent. And so there is a warning that does tell you that. It's not recommended to release numbers that have received an incoming message within the last 7 days. So you'll be able to see this last send and last received date. And so if it's actively being used, deactivate it, because when we deactivate a number, it's not used in new batches. So when we're sending out those new batches, inactive numbers aren't used, only active numbers are. So that will allow still return messages to come into that phone number, and you can still use that number in the conversations it's assigned to. So if somebody replies to an inactive number, you can still reply using it, but it's not being used in your batches, so it's not going to affect your overall delivery rate. Releasing is that permanent one. So if you ever want to release phone numbers, deactivate it first. Leave it so that the last send and last received dates are at least 7 days old. And once that time comes, you can release it.
So if you release a number, how do you get new ones?
So that's this button in the top right here. So add new numbers. So if you're brand new, you probably have 30 numbers in your account to start. And if you've released, say, 10 numbers, you can come here and click add new numbers. Select the market that you want if you have more than one. Again, you're new, so you probably only have one market. And you can put here, I want to buy 10 numbers, click check availability, and it will tell you if there are numbers available from the carrier or not with that area code. Sometimes there's not, like this case, and it will suggest another area code that may work for you. But that's all it is. You just come, click add new numbers, you put the quantity that you want. And if you, again, have only 20 active numbers, but there's 30 included in your account, it actually won't end up charging you as long as you're under that 30 number threshold. You only pay for active and inactive numbers. You don't pay for released numbers anymore. So if you're active and inactive come to a sum of 30 numbers or less, you won't be charged. If you go over that, then you will be charged $1 per number per month. So say I have 30 numbers included in my account and I've added 10 more, so I have 40 active numbers. It's going to add a $10 recurring charge to my monthly billing amount.
Okay, that sounds good.
Cool. Great. Awesome. Okay, let's take a look. And as you are brand new, please reach out to us at support@leadsherpa.com. We can offer some additional resources to you. A Zoom call. We do something called an account takeover as well, where our texters will actually text in your account for you, and they'll show you all the best practices and send you a recording and things like that. So if you are looking for some more training resources or support as you're getting onboarded into the system, just reach out to the support team and we'll help you.
Allison, while you're on this page, Sasha is asking if we can open the inactive tab. I think he wants to look at the health and see if it's, oh.
So, well, these are fairly old. Yeah, I don't know if our account truthfully is the best one to see an example of. But I'm assuming that, Sasha, this is what you're seeing. Well, we're gonna have to take a look at your account and other accounts to see if there is a overall bug happening. But definitely do reach out to support for that.
Perfect.
All right.
There's another one. Just a quick one. Any update with Verizon deliveries?
Not a full update right now. We're always trying to do anything we can to resolve that, but in the meantime, we are not counting Verizon numbers against the upload limit. So when you're uploading prospects with just Verizon or landlines, it doesn't count as an upload. It does still go into your account, and that's why you still see them skipped. And that's just because we want it to still create a prospect page for you so that you can call them from the prospect page, or even just track a lead stage or anything like that. But in regard to actually sending to Verizon, very strict with our use case right now. And so we're trying to see if there's anything we can do, but no official update just yet. All right. You're welcome. All right, I think that's all of the questions from the chat for now. So that means I get to drill Amber with some questions for a little bit. It's her favorite. All right, let's talk about, this is actually a question that came in on Facebook yesterday, and so I figured people are asking about it, we might as well cover it. So Amber, how do we export mobile numbers that were skipped? And we're on that Verizon skip conversation, so it makes sense to ask this and see how we can identify the people that were skipped.
Yep, so you just go into the campaign that you want to export the skips for. Once you select the campaign, you will see over on the left-hand side, the metrics tab. Here's where you can basically see all the message stats, import stats of the specific campaign. And over on the right-hand side, you'll see the phone numbers, mobile, landline, the little download icon there next to the mobile number. We'll export the file, give you some pretty detailed information with the prospect name, number, and then skip reason. You can filter the column to carrier, what's it called?
It's carrier underscore Verizon. And
yeah, yeah. And then you can see all of those numbers. Oh, perfect. Got that open.
Yeah. So this is our testing account, so we won't have any actual examples, but the column is here. So this is the export. Gives you other information in here as well about the prospect, about the last time they were imported, the first time they were imported, their owner verified status. So if there's ever any data that you want to pull from a campaign, you can probably find it in these exports. But additionally, and it does have links back to the page of the prospect as well, a public version in case you need to send it to somebody who doesn't have access to Sherpa, and then also the in Sherpa version. But the column that you want here to export all of your Verizon skips or skips for any reason will be here under this skip reason column. And so any of these skip reasons will show up there. So if it's the Verizon ones you want to look at, it will say carrier underscore Verizon, but there are other skip reasons here as well. So Amber, do you want to just quickly go over what each of these are?
Sure. So obviously the previous response skip is going to be if, you know, anybody has responded back to you recently, they are going to automatically get skipped. Sorry, my screen's flashing over here. Message in the last 5 days. If a prospect has been messaged by any Sherpa user in the last 5 days, it's going to automatically skip them just so they're not getting bombarded. You know, so it could have been sent from your company or another company in Sherpa who sends to the same market. Wrong number, if they've been marked as wrong number in Sherpa before, they are going to be skipped. Opted out, if they have replied stop in the past to, you know, anyone in Sherpa, they are not going to receive any messages there. DNC, obviously, they've been marked DNC. They're on the DNC list. They are going to get automatically skipped. That's an internal DNC list, by the way. And then litigator, obviously, going to get skipped. Forced skip is they're manually skipped by you. So if you know, you're sending messages, you'll see there's a button to skip that person. Yep, there we go. On the send page. And then obviously the carrier skip is Verizon at this time.
Yeah, exactly. And so just to branch off of some of those items, again, the DNC, do want to make this clear. This is your internal DNC list. So this is not the national DNC registry. We're not scrubbing out national DNC registry. We scrub out known litigators and associated litigators, which means they're related to the litigator in some way, and we're able to recognize that. But the internal do not call list, this just means you have already had this prospect in your account before and you've marked them here as DNC. And so they're in a new list again. And so when you're sending it out, you've told the system, I do not want to contact this person, and so I'm going to skip it. You also do have the ability to manually update a do not contact list It's here under company. So maybe you use a dialer, or maybe you came from another texting platform. So you already have this list of prospects that you know you don't want to contact if they end up on a new list. And so you can bulk import those here into the system so that they're skipped in all of your batches. And so that's when you see DNC and there's a number there in the skips. It's because for some reason they're on your do not contact list. You've told the system you don't want to contact these people. National DNC registry, they're not scrubbed out. They're still in there because you're making a legitimate offer to purchase a home. You're not selling something. And so for that reason, we're not scrubbing out the national do not contact list. There are some users who access the do not contact list, the national DNC registry somehow, and they'll import this into their DNC list. Completely up to you. It's a personal preference. Some people like that little extra layer of protection, but again, because you're not selling anything, and you shouldn't be using Sherpa to sell anything. If you are, you're not working within our terms of service. And so because of that, we don't need to scrub out the DNC list. Then I think I wanted to say something else quickly still while we were on that skip reason. I actually wanted to ask a separate question. So, Amber, if we have uploaded a list that we already contacted, but we're noticing, oh, we're getting all of these skips because they responded before, but maybe it's a list that we want to recontact no matter what, because we contacted them a year or two ago. And so we want to just re-upload them all together and contact them, even if they responded before. How do we do that without getting them skipped?
I feel like that was a loaded question, but it wasn't. You can export the campaign or export the mobile list and re-upload it to a campaign. Yep, just go here, or maybe this is a better screen. Would you export the mobile list, or would you export the campaign stats?
Oh, no, yeah, you can export the mobile list. You can just, because you can do the whole phone number list as well if you want, but that's taking landlines, which you don't really need because you're not going to be texting landlines.
Yep.
But just here, yeah, new campaign where we have the setting.
Perfect. Yep. And then you can name it whatever you want, choose the market, the skip prospects who've previously responded. You're going to want to skip or change that, to no.
Yeah.
So that you can hit that whole list again.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. That right there is the feature that will allow us to re-message an entire list, even if they did respond before. This is always default yes, because we typically assume that you don't want to send somebody a new initial message if they've already responded. Maybe you're in the middle of talking to them, or you've already closed a deal with them, or they've already told you no. And so you want to skip those people. But again, there are those cases where you're like, okay, you know what? This campaign was actually done 2 years ago, or 1 year ago, or even 6 months ago. And I do just want to hit them all again. You can do that by turning this feature to no. And when we do this, it won't use the same phone number to contact them. It will pull a new Sherpa phone number from your number manager to send that new initial message, so that it doesn't look so funny that you're re-messaging somebody with the same number saying, hey, would you like to sell your property? And they're going to say, I already spoke to you. Instead, to them, it's coming from a new number anyway. So it is just a new conversation altogether.
One thing with that, if you wanted to create a follow-up campaign, though, you could hit them with the same number. You do get that option.
Yes. Yeah.
When creating a follow-up.
Yeah, and that especially makes sense. So we do have this toggle here in our create follow-up filters. So retain initial outgoing numbers here. This means it's going to keep the same Sherpa phone number to contact those prospects. So if they replied before and you marked them as cold, maybe they weren't just ready just yet to sell, but now you want to recontact those cold people, then you want to keep the same phone number. So you can say, hey, it's been a while since we spoke. I'm just seeing if anything changed. Is there any update? Are you looking to sell your property now? That way, we're keeping the same phone number and it all makes sense. But you do also have the option to turn that off, again, if you do want to just use a new number altogether as well.
Perfect.
All right, no more questions in the chat still. So what else do I have for you? Oh, Rick, you have your hand up. Would you like to ask a question?
Yeah, could you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I had a quick question in regards to updating prospects numbers. It's become very common with your guys' skip trace platform to get a lot of different numbers on your first try. Sometimes you'll get like the seller's family, like a family member, and they'll say, "Hey, wrong number. Try this number." I still don't see a feature on Sherpa that allows us to just update it with that number.
Yeah, definitely. So
right
it
away
has,
without having to like actually go and redo the list or whatnot. But it would be very helpful to have a feature to just update it at that moment and resend a text. I mean, I don't know. It's probably I don't know how hard it is, but it would be helpful.
we have the feature. I'll show you how to use it right now. So say we've messaged Lester and Lester responds and says, "This isn't Lester, here's his number." So that's what we're talking about, right? So he's given us a new number. We just need an easy way to now contact that new number, which we can do. So when we hit these three little dots here, this duplicate button. So if I just hit duplicate, it just copies all of the same information, but you can paste in a new phone number here. And so that's just where you take that phone number that Lester has given us, add the phone. You can say what campaign you want that prospect to be added to. For the most part, probably the same campaign that you're in, but maybe you want to put it in something else, and then hit clone. And as soon as you hit clone, it will do one of two things. One, it may take you to that prospect page to send you a new message, or it may also tell you this prospect already belongs to this campaign, which means that they're in queue because, again, we have those three phone numbers for the homeowner. And so it's possible that that phone number is still in the queue. And so you'll still get to them. Yeah. So if it doesn't exist yet, you just add it here. I mean, either way, you add it here, hit clone. And if it doesn't exist yet, it will take you right to the prospect page to send that message, or it may tell you that that prospect is in queue already.
Perfect. Thank you. And one more, you guys had mentioned you guys will be rolling out the auto messages, like the auto, like changing up messages.
Rotate, yeah.
To get through. How is that coming along?
It is coming along. So it is one of our things that is in QA this week. We've got a really big QA happening because, again, we've got some really big features happening, but it should be live sometime this month.
Awesome. Because I know from other people that are in the industry, they're saying that's really effective, being able to switch out messages to get through to sellers.
Yeah, it will help a lot with delivery rates and to avoid getting flagged as spam. And so we recognize the importance of it for sure, and it will be live ASAP.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. How do you export numbers that haven't responded after hitting them several times to cold call?
So I think the best option to do this for all campaigns, are you marking them as cold? Even if you're not, you could click on the prospect search tab, and then let's choose the lead stage initial message sent. This is going to be messages that have been sent to people, but they've never responded to you. You can export this list here. Once it loads, you'll see that export button, and then upload that to a new campaign. You can also include other lead stages if you are marking them as cold, to include those prospects as well if you want to.
Yeah, it depends on who exactly you're looking for. If you're just looking for those people that you sent a message and they didn't reply, they're going to be in that initial message sent status. So those may be the ones that you want to cold call. And you can do this one at the campaign level. So maybe you go to your most recent follow-up campaign, because if you've hit them numerous times, you probably are on follow-up campaign number 3 or 4. And so you can export your initial message sent from there, or you can come and do this system-wide and take all of your initial message sent. Just remember that if we're doing it this way, you could have just sent them a message earlier today or yesterday and they have that lead stage. But you can also take that export and take a look at the campaigns column. And if you know you want to just omit anybody who is in that campaign you did earlier today, then you can filter to that. There's also, and I'll also show you, so if we go in at the campaign level, we can come here, prospects and messages, initial message sent, and export those. This is, again, our demo account, so there's not that much data in it, but if it's a large account or a large campaign, you may have quite a few prospects in here, and you can just export that and it will give you a very similar export like this. The other thing that I think lots of people actually overlook, and so I'm glad that this came up, is back on the prospect search tab. So yes, we can go by lead stage. We can also go by owner verification status. And the reason that this is helpful, well, it has to be helpful, or you have to do something for it to be helpful. You have to use that verified owner button. So if somebody says, oh, they just restarted the demo account. But if somebody says here, yes, I'm the owner, but I'm not interested in selling, or yes, I'm the owner, they've confirmed somehow that they are the owner, we need to hit that verified owner button. And that will allow us to have some really accurate data. Again, whether or not they're willing to sell, as long as you've reached the owner, then you can put owner verified. And so then we can come here to the owner verified status, and there's 3 options here: verified, unverified, and open. And so the difference here means verified. We've marked them as a verified owner. So we've already contacted the owner of that property, and we, for whatever reason, they may want to sell, they may not, but we don't need to now cold call them because we've already verified them as an owner. Unverified means that they are associated with a property that has a verified owner, but they're not the owner. So again, we have phone number 1, phone number 2, phone number 3. If we hit verified on phone number 1, phone 2 and 3 will be marked as unverified. Open, though, this is the one that you may want to use for direct mail or cold calling or something outside of text. If you've already contacted them numerous times and you're not getting that response back, export your open, because that means you have not verified the owner. That means you still need to find the owner of that property. And so if we're going to go to the open status and hit apply filter, these are all the properties and prospects that we have not confirmed the owner yet. And so we don't know if they're willing to sell or not because we haven't spoken to the verified owner yet. So make sure you're using that verified owner button so that you can use this to your advantage to pull lists to then try cold calling or direct mail or doing whatever else that you want to do. All right, chat. Okay, nothing else going on in the chat. We have 5 more minutes. So if anybody has any pressing questions they want to ask us, just pop them in the chat. Or I will ask Amber another question. All right. Amber, how do we create custom lead stages?
Yes, so while you are in, I believe, a prospect page, go ahead and click on someone there. Use the, oh, yep, there we go. Use a little drop down. And then at the very bottom, you'll see add, edit custom lead stages. So here, if something comes to mind while you're messaging someone, you're like, this would be a good lead stage, you could just hit add new lead stage, and it will be available for all future prospects when you want to mark them.
Yep, so you can do it there, and you can also do it in your account settings page here under lead stages. Just click add new lead stage. And what you can also do here now as well is drag them into the order that makes sense for you. So definitely create custom lead stages that will help you in creating follow-up campaigns or exporting your data, but then you can also reorder them here in the order that makes sense for you, because there could be ones here that you don't use that often. Hopefully we're using appointment all the time or deal closed all the time and putting that at the top and dead toward the bottom. That may not be the case, but that would be nice. And so you can put it in the order that makes sense for you for use. And the thing, right, about using accurate lead stages is that we can create then those really accurate follow-up campaigns. So I can say, hey, in this follow-up campaign, I want to contact everybody who I put as nurture. So this is a custom lead stage we created. And so maybe I want to create that follow-up that says nurture. I want to keep the same initial phone number. Click create follow-up, and it's going to just create this campaign of my nurture leads where I'm just going to check in on people and say, hey, how's it going? Is there any update, etc.? Because we need to nurture them into an actual lead. And so accurate lead stages are important for follow-up campaigns, but even if you just started Sherpa yesterday, it's important to think about now so you can come back to these prospects later and follow up on them, because there's a lot of leads in those follow-ups. These are people who did not opt out. And so even if they didn't say, yes, buy my home right now, they're very important to come back to and to continue coming back to. All right. I think that that's all I wanted to cover. Thank you guys for bringing questions today. I love it when people bring questions. It means I don't have to think too hard about what to talk about and drill Amber too much on my questions. Amber, do you want to just quickly go over, I know I alluded to it earlier about the account takeover. Do you want to just say a little bit about what it is and how we can schedule it for people?
Yeah, we actually have openings this week. You know, there's been a lot of changes. Usually we offer it to new accounts. If you're not a new account, we can still, you know, get you signed up for an account takeover. Basically, we have one of our texters come in and work in your account for a few hours in the afternoon. They'll send messages on your behalf and try to generate some leads. They'll go over your templates and quick replies to, you know, make sure that we're following best practices. And while they do this, they'll record their screen. And then once they're finished, they'll send you a follow-up email and screen recording of the work that they've done. It just is a little bit helpful to kind of see through Sherpa, see the process, how it works, and, you know, the bonus of trying to generate some leads at the same time. Following the account takeover, if you have more in-depth questions or additional questions, we can jump on a Zoom and answer those for you as well. So
Cool. Awesome.
If you're interested, you can reach out to myself or, you know, submit a ticket to our support team to get on the schedule.
Awesome. Yes. All right. Well, nobody has anything else for us. I guess that will wrap up today's session. Thank you all for joining. And we will be here same time, same place in 2 weeks. Thanks, everyone.